ordered a 3-axis digital readout from the Myford Super 7 lathe, and it's come in 2 boxes. I'm not going to open this one just yet, but I think this is some sort of hole or something that it'll eventually fit on. And then in the main part of the box there's some bits of paper. Not sure what that's about. Packet. Containing a couple of bits and some instructions. Remains to be seen whether I read them. As I will. Another packet containing some instructions on how to set the thing up. Power cord. Some screws and brackets. Installation guide, screws and brackets, screws and cable ties, a swivelling arm on which it will presumably mount, plate, description, more brackets, a bracket, armoured cable with presumably carrying the electric cables for the electric connection, and a second one. Although this is a 3-axis digital readout, the chap did say they haven't developed a 3rd axis at the moment, and it's only got, therefore only got this stuff to fit up 2. Not troubled by that at the moment, so we'll see how we'll get on. Another miscellaneous packet, no idea what's in that, but I won't open that just yet because I can really lose everything. And then a much bigger packet. So this is the bigger packet within the packet. Let's cut the fingers off. And this clearly contains the display unit. As I say, it is a 3-axis job, but I haven't got the equipment to install a 3rd axis at this stage, so I'll be using it on the probably the cross slide and the top slide of the lathe. In order to fit the DRO digital readout to the Myford Super 7, the first thing we have to do is to remove the Myford cross slide, because that needs modifying on its bottom face. And if we just probably push the slide back, there's no room, push it the other way then, and the slide comes off. The next operation is to scribe a line 8mm down from the top face. The top face is the face clearly where the T-slots are. If we carefully do that, and there we are. Probably doesn't come out on the video very well. And then what you have to do is offer up this extension block flush to the top edge with this logo MDRO facing upwards, but we have to set the block so that it avoids the jib locking bolts. which are there. The jib locking bolt is there, which means the DRO is facing upwards, so it has to be set to this side and level with the top face, and then mark its side. So if I put a little rule there like that, and using the trusty scriber, mark the line so that this block will fit like that. The next part of the job is to mark out the positions for the fixing holes for this extension block, and the first part of that is to mark out a line 7mm from that face. The hole we marked 8mm down is actually the centre line of this block, so where these two lines cross will actually be the centre line of this hole. And what we then have to do is to, from that one, measure out 46mm, but by my arithmetic 46 plus 7 is 53, so if I go 53, from this edge, 53 from this edge, theoretically that is the centre line of the second hole, and judging it by eye, I would say that's not a mile off. So then we've got to centre punch these two and drill and tap for M6. The Super 7 cross slide is approximately 10 3/4 inches long, and I don't have any drilling equipment with that kind of throat depth. So I'm afraid this part, the drilling and tapping of the M6 fixing bolts, is going to be done by eye. Here's the centre drill, just spot where we think we're going to start, which is good. Tapping size for M6 is 5mm. Important that this hole isn't drilled too far, otherwise it's going to end up in the T-slot. So a little bit of rubber tube over the end of the drill. If I touch that, it means the drill's gone in around 3/8 of an inch, which should be safe and well clear of the T-slot. Hold your breath, fingers crossed. I need to find a new drill. Right, see if this drill's any better than the last one. Might be. And there you are. Hopefully it's not too far off. There are a million ways of doing this, but if you're careful, Using a taper tap, you can just feel your way in to get started. Hopefully end up reasonably square. It's not too critical because there's only the holding bolts. The trick is to try and feel and let the tap find its own way in, as it were. Not too bad in this size, a bit different when you're drilling and tapping for 12 PA. Alright, so we find a plug tap, just bottom it out. And there it is, the extension piece now fitted to the back of the Super 7 cross slide. I will admit I did have to just drill and tap these two holes slightly deeper in the event. I think my little bit of rubber tube's about ½ inch down because the bolts bottomed out before they tightened up. I could have shortened the bolts, but my presumption was that somebody designed this so it ought to be about right, so I've drilled and tapped a little bit deeper, and it is now perfectly secure, ready for the next operation. The next operation is to mill a shallow slot about 1.5 mm deep along the underside of the Super 7 cross slide. And to do that, the first thing we've got to do is to make sure the cross slide is exactly parallel to the milling machine table. So I've got a DTI in a chuck in the mill, and that DTI measures in 1/2 thousandths. We'll traverse the table. So from one end of the table to the other, the top slide is actually out of parallel by about 16 thousandths of an inch. We just need a tight tap somewhere to bring it back. The slot that I've got to mill only comes this far. It doesn't go obviously through the hole where the compound slide fits. And over that length of travel, the top slide is now within 1/1000th of being parallel to the table. So candidly, I'm going to clamp it and call that good, I think. Right, I find the instructions slightly ambiguous at this point, but if I've understood things correctly, hopefully, the plan is first of all to take a milling cut across the extension block and the slide, just touching off to make sure there is a level surface from one end to the other, because this block actually is sitting just fractionally proud of the underside of the table. So I have actually locked the cross travel on the milling machine so that I won't disturb this setup. So I shall have to change the milling cutter in a minute. And that's it there. I'll now take the cut all the way along, stop just before the hole where the compound slide fits in the cross slide. Having prepared the level surface along the underside of the lathe top slide, what we now have to do is to change the milling cutter, which I've done, for a 10mm wide cutter, which is this one. Touch that off and then mill a slot effectively in the middle of the prepared surface, 1.8mm deep, which according to me is 71 thou, because my machine is imperial, as am I. So the first thing to do is to just gently touch the thing off, and then we can set what we're doing. So I think as we've touched off, if I now set the depth to 70 thou, that will be the 1.8mm deep slot, give or take. I do definitely right, so we now need to come down 70 thou. Actually says 69, but I think that's good enough for me. So if we now traverse, I have set the stop on the table of the mill so that I can't go too far. So I don't actually want to run into the hole where the compound table sits on the lathe cross slide. Right, just to be clear then, we now have, I hope, a reasonably accurately 10mm wide slot by 1.8mm deep, absolutely level, in the base of the lathe cross side and the extension block for the DRO, stopping short of the recess into which the compound slide of the lathe actually fits. Didn't really want to break into that. And into this slot will now be placed the magnetic tape that actually activates and operates the digital readout. So that's the next job, clean everything up, put that tape in. Right, this is a puzzle. The instructions say measure the length of the slot, which approximately is 9.5 inches, and cut the magnetic tape to shoot, implying that the magnetic tape will be longer than the slot. But actually the magnetic tape supplied is a touch under 8 inches long. Which now begs the question, have I got the wrong magnetic tape, or how should it be positioned? I think I'd better stop. I've done a bit more thinking about the length of the magnetic strip as supplied with the MDRO that I've got compared to the length referred to in the instructions. The one I've got seems to be, you know, an inch or so, maybe longer, shorter than the one in the instructions, which seems to be over 9 inches. But it's clear that for this strip to function correctly, it has to be in line with the extension piece. Although the screw's not fitted, where the cross slide currently is represents the maximum theoretical travel of the cross slide out, still allowing for about half a thread of engagement in the nut. Well, frankly, you'd have to be stark raving mad, I think, to wind your cross slide out that far, and I can't imagine why you would do it. But even if you did, it's clear that the magnetic strip is, as supplied, is long enough, and pushing the slide the other way, the maximum travel on the slide in the other direction, were the feed nut engaged, if the feed nut was engaged, the maximum travel you could get, I've indicated with these lines here, and it's quite clear that the magnetic strip would still be over the reader. So based on this little bit of thinking overnight, I'm actually going to install the as supplied magnetic strip with no need to adjust its length. I think is actually fine, and that's what I'm going to do. Right, I've fixed the magnetic strip to the base of the cross slide and the extension bracket, and there it is. That's the magnetic strip. That's fixed into the groove that I machined using the self-adhesive backing, which is supplied with it. It's clear that there was absolutely no need to machine a 10mm wide slot as far as the instructions suggested, or as far as I actually did. The slot only really needed to be as long, with hindsight, as this magnetic strip, which is about 8 odd inches long, I think, by the look of it. The other sort of slightly odd thing, well, not odd really, but the instructions refer to removing a film, a backing, and installing a stainless steel protective shim over the magnet. Fantastic. But there is no self-adhesive backing on this bit of stainless steel, so I think I'm going to just dob a super glue and super glue it to the blooming magnet. Again, there's obviously some sort of slight error in the instructions there, I think. As per the instructions supplied, I've used a thin piece of paper which measures approximately 0.2mm in total thickness, to just give a small amount of clearance between the reading head and the magnetic strip that's been installed under the extension piece and the cross slide. So that's about where we're at, so that's fine, I hope. Another aspect which the instructions make a bit of a song and dance about is that the profile that holds the magnetic strip, or will hold the magnetic strip for the long travel on the lathe, needs to be parallel to the bed. It's quite a bit of faffing about, but as best I can judge using a DTI over the 12 inches I can really get to, It's within about 1/1000th of parallel, so that's tighter tolerance than I would normally be bothered with, I've got to tell you. Right, absolutely no idea what I'm doing because I haven't read this part of the instructions yet. Why would you? But I just thought I'd plug the display in to the reader that I fitted to the cross slide to see if anything happens. It's obviously not zeroed, I have no idea. And the reality is, if I push the cross slide backwards and forwards, numbers go round. So I'm going to take that as a positive sign. There we go, I haven't fitted the screw, but just pushing it backwards and forwards, and stuff happens. So for me, that's the score. I'll have to read the instructions about what all this means and what you got to do with it. Excellent. Still haven't read the instructions, why would you? But I just thought, while I'm in sort of semi-test mode here, I've put the screw back in the cross slide, and if I use the micrometer dial and wind it round 10 thou, this thing now reads 10.04, and if I wind it round to 20 thou, give or take, it says effectively 19.88, and 30 thou is 29.92 on this, and 40 or 50 I've gone by it. 50, this says 49.8. So I'm going to say spot on, it's working. Probably more accurate than my interpretation of the readings on the dial. I mean, the integer line must be 10 thou thick for a start, so yeah, it's impressed, it's good. Whoopie-doo. Okay, I didn't need to resort to phoning the manufacturer in the end, worked it all out, everything is fine. I'm very pleased to say that the digital readout is now installed and we're back in business. There's the readout, which I installed there from the rear wall. Whether that's going to prove to be an ideal position at the moment, I don't know, but it will do for a start. Excellent, it went together really well. Everything seems to work, I'm pleased to say. Numbers go round. I did fit the plastic cover supplied over the readout, designed to protect you from swolf. I think a particularly nice feature is the aluminium cover to stop swolf getting attracted into the magnetic strip which the sensor head uses for the travel along the bed travel. I'm also pleased that I still managed to incorporate my homemade stop arrangement for the cross slide along the bed. This is an adjustable stop, which is kind of handy. I do a lot of turning up to a shoulder, and I'll be able to accurately set that now using the DRO, but I can then set a stop where I'm working down to size to stop the bed going out of going too far. So all in all, I'm very pleased. The instructions were pretty good. I had to give it a little dose of thinking, but that's probably down to me rather than the way they were written. And I'm extremely pleased with the result. I think it's a real good addition to the lathe. I think the incorporation, which I think is a later feature, of putting the magnetic stripe for the cross slide under the cross slide, and that's the extension there with the sensing head under it. I think that's really neat as well, because clearly now Swarf won't be able to get at that. I think earlier versions of this had the magnetic stripe in some sort of housing along the side of the cross slide, and I can imagine that might have been a little bit of an issue, but actually this latest version is much better, so I'm well satisfied.